In Yura and Sukumaron tries to make his mother laugh. He is painting her portrait. As he studies her face and replicates it on the canvas in front of him, he and his siblings talk and try to laugh about their childhood, telling their mother funny stories from the days when they were innocent little kids. He is trying desperately to be funny and to remove some of the stress lines that have etched into Rajai Sukumaran's face in the past decade. He wants this to be a happy visit. When his family arrived 1 week ago, Mitterrand told them he was being selfish and that he wanted this to be a happy and fun visit. He didn't want them sitting around, crying and being miserable. And he wanted his mum to see him doing what he loves, painting. This week, with the shadow of death hanging over him, Sukumaron has started painting a self-portrait, plus portraits of his mother and younger sister Brintha. Elsewhere in Karabokan prison, Andrew Chand is comforting and praying with a fellow Christian prisoner. The man's arm is paralyzed from a stroke and jail is not easy for him. Chantu is under the shadow of death but decides the man needs help and support. Chantu is trying to make his mother laugh. It is the first time he has seen her in years. For the past week, Rajai Sukumaron and Helen Chand have made a daily vigil to Karabokan jail in Bali. The two women are not close, but theirs is a pain only they can fathom, living in constant fear that their beloved sons could soon be wrenched from them and shot dead by a firing squad. Broken-hearted at the thought of losing her firstborn, Rajai Sukumaron recently broke down as she told News Corp Australia that she wishes they would kill her instead. "I don't want to live like this. I wish they would kill me first. He doesn't deserve to die. He did something really foolish 10 years ago and he apologized. He said he is sorry and he said that he will never go back to this. He helped so many people on drugs. He is trying to rehabilitate a lot of people there in jail. My son is so young. He is loving and caring and rehabilitated and they want to take him out and kill him. It's not fair." She collapses, head in her hands, at the thought of her son and Andrew Chand, terrified, being led out into a dark night, tied up, their hearts marked with a reflector and, at the count of 3, shot dead by police. Michael Chan sums it up when he says no one is suggesting that his brother and Sukumaron have not committed a serious crime for which they should pay dearly. But not with their lives. Their work in the jail, setting up rehabilitation programs and helping Indonesian prisoners, is evidence the two are trying to better themselves and others and give back to Indonesia, he says. The past few weeks have been like a nightmare for the two families. They live hour by hour. First, the Indonesian president signed the letter that denied Sukumaron the chance to live. Then he ordered that 6 other drug traffickers be put to death. On the day of their execution, he signed Chan's clemency rejection letter as well. Both are now condemned to die. The Attorney General, H.M. Praseono, said this week that a group of foreign drug traffickers, including the 2 Australians, had lost all their avenues for a reprieve, but so far no date has been set for them to be shot dead. He indicated that the next round of executions would not begin until the January 17th round had been evaluated and reported upon. And despite originally saying that the Australians would be in the next round of executions, he later backed away, suggesting this was not certain and that no decision had been made on who would be next. The worst nightmares of Chan and Sukumaron and their families were being played out. Terrified of what could happen, Sukumaron's parents and siblings flew to Bali, as did Chan's mother and brother. They have spent the week visiting the jail and in the round of meetings with lawyers and the Australian consulate. Everybody is on the knife's edge. No one knows what will happen and when. The strain and grief are etched onto the faces of Rajai Sukumaron and Helen Chan each time they arrive at the jail and as they leave. They don't know how many days or hours they have left with the children they brought into the world 33 and 31 years ago. The Indonesian president seems resolute. There will be no clemency and no compromises for drug traffickers. He repeated it again this week. As Australian officials worked behind the scenes, using diplomacy, the lawyers yesterday lodged an application for a judicial review or park with the Denpasar District Court. But no one yet knows if it will even be considered. The men have already lost one judicial review and authorities are at loggerheads over whether a second judicial is even allowed. Indonesia's powerful constitutional court recently ruled that if there is new evidence, more than one judicial review is allowed. But the Supreme Court immediately countered, by issuing a note saying that one is the limit. The government is set to issue a new regulation on the matter but is yet to do so. If the court accepts the case review and gives them a hearing date, there is a slim chance it could make a difference. If the judicial review is thrown out, Chant and Sukumaron are out of chances. What happens next is the stuff of nightmares. They will be given, by law, 72 hours of notice that they will be executed. Authorities have said the two men will be shot dead together. It now seems certain that they will not be executed on the island of Bali. Hindu Governor Maipastika does not want it there, fearing it will destroy the holiday island's harmony. He however has not opposed the death penalty itself. Jakarta concurs, suggesting the ideal place is Nusa Kambangan Island, off the coast of Cilacap, in central Java. The island contains prisons and is easily contained and guarded. 5 of the 6 people executed on January 17 were shot dead on Nusa Kambangan. It was here too, in November 2008, that the 3 Bali bombers were executed together. Chant and Sukumaron would be moved to Nusa Kambangan from Bali and placed in one of the island's jails used to isolate prisoners who are nearing the end. The move is normally done in the middle of the night in order to lessen the chance for drama in the jail and when all prisoners are locked down for the night. Once at Nusa Kambangan they would be allowed final visits from their families and lawyers and religious advisors. They would be asked for their final requests and for the wishes for their bodies. At about 4 p.m. on the day of their execution, they would go into total lockdown in their cells. The family would have to leave and the only person who could stay after that would be a priest or religious advisor. The condemned can request that a religious figure be with them for the whole time, until the end, providing solace and ministering and praying with them until the moment the shots are fired. Executions are normally done shortly after midnight and at Nusa Kambangan the accused are taken from their cells at about 11:30 p.m. and driven to a dark, remote spot. They are tied to a wooden pole or post, sometimes with a chair. An apron is placed over their body and a reflector attached to the hard area to guide the shooters. They may stand, sit or kneel and may have a hood over their heads if they ask. Floodlights are set up. At the last minute the religious advisor is asked to stand back and the command to fire is given. Firing squads are made up of 12 members from Bright Mob, the paramilitary police, plus a commander and a senior officer. Only 3 of the 12 have lit rounds in their rifles and no one knows who fired the fatal shots. This is meant to be a conscience issue. The doctor certifies death and in the unlikely event that the firing squad failed to kill the commander gets an amnesty shot to the head with a pistol. News Corp Australia has interviewed officials who have attended Indonesian executions. Their descriptions are haunting and terrifying. Myran Sukumaron has vowed his spirit will not be broken. He continues to paint and run the rehabilitation programs he set up in the jail. Andrew Chant, studying to be a pastor, continues to comfort and pray with fellow prisoners and provide solace to others in